If you're in any way unsure about whether or not you too should consider training jiu-jitsu, in this video, I'm going to convince you to at least try. Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is a martial art that primarily focuses on strategic grappling and ground fighting. It evolved from judo when Mitsuyo Maeda introduced these techniques to Brazil in the early 20th century. One of his students, Carlos Gracie, adapted and further developed his methodology. Since then, the Gracie family has become foundational in the further development and popularization of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. In 1993, when the UFC was created in part to answer the question, what is the most effective martial art? Royce Gracie won against Dutch karate champion Gerald Budeau, thus proving the effectiveness of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. It has become regarded as a highly respected fighting system that revolves around leverage and controlling the opponent, in particular using your opponent's strength and weight against them. Today, the majority of successful MMA fighters have at least some basic understanding of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I'm not saying that Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is the best combat sport out there. There are so many, but I am saying that if you were going to just choose one, it's a pretty good choice. There's also a significantly lower risk of CTE, a brain disorder thought to be caused by repeated blows to the head, than in other sports that revolve around striking. This means that you could potentially train and spar for years and years while staying healthy. Training jiu-jitsu can actually be really good for your brain. More on that later. Then there's the community aspect. Many jiu-jitsu gyms feel like families. Something I really like about my gym is that there are lots of parents and siblings who go there and train together. It gives the place a really nice community atmosphere. Any way you cut it, when we train, we are essentially hugging one another for an hour or two. Perhaps that builds a very unique form of physiological connection. I don't know. What I have found is there's just a certain way that you get to know someone when you train with them. In a lot of ways, we are putting our bodies on the line for one another as we progress and learn while we train. And if it takes 10 to 12 years on average to become a black belt, you're going to see the people you train with over and over again. So it makes sense to foster positive long-term relationships. Not just at your gym, but say you go to an open mat at another gym, or even you go to a competition, you'll be seeing those people again and again. You're part of this network across the world, which I think is really cool. There's just something really nice about going to a place a few times a week, seeing the same people, and all working on learning similar things. I've also found that, for whatever reason, you just can't hide who you are on the mats. If you're a hard worker and you care about getting things right, that's going to come across. If you don't really care about getting things right, that's going to come across too. Say you don't really care about whether or not your training partner learns the move, you only care about whether or not you learn the move, that's going to come across. It's almost as if you have no choice but to be the better version of yourself when you're training. You also have to work in a team with your training partner, even if maybe they're not your favorite person in the whole gym to interact with. There's just something kind of wholesome about showing up and having to figure it out with someone who you wouldn't normally choose to engage with. And I know that the more my training partner understands a move, kind of by osmosis, and also because they're literally doing the drill on my body, the more I understand the move. Then there's the fitness aspect of things. Brazilian Jiu Jitsu stands to improve strength, endurance, flexibility, coordination, balance, cardio. That's a lot from one thing. Often when I'm rolling, I'm enjoying myself so much, I don't actually realize how tired I am until the roll is over. There's also the feel-good aspect, especially when you feel like you've just made some small step forward in a training session. And for that reason, training Jiu Jitsu can definitely be addictive. Honestly, before I started training, I didn't even know it was possible to have this much fun as an adult, especially while exercising. I mean, who enjoys exercising, really? Okay, I know some people do, but a lot of people don't enjoy exercising. And a lot of those people that don't enjoy exercising do go to jiu-jitsu and they love it. Training jiu-jitsu has definitely changed the way I think. When rolling, we often have to adapt to changing situations. This promotes resilience and strategic thinking. Learning drills and techniques also challenges the brain, which may stimulate neuroplasticity, also known as the brain's ability to adapt and reorganize. I mean, you're learning how to defend and also attack stronger and larger opponents. If that doesn't make you tougher, what will? And something that I'm beginning to understand and think about lately is that training jiu-jitsu is learning how your body can move in relation to the movements of that of another person's body. Because of that, it seems that there's almost an infinite number of ways of doing things. There are so many moves to learn. It's a little bit like learning a language with your body that continues to change and grow. When you're sparring, you're just forced to be in the present moment, much as you are when you're, say, meditating. Lastly, I would say that training jiu-jitsu increases confidence. It's not nice having someone who's bigger and stronger and better at jiu-jitsu than you, which when you're a white belt is basically absolutely everyone, try to choke you or sit on your chest in the mount position. Learning how to navigate those situations just makes you a more confident person. Even just learning not to physically hold your breath or panic when you're sparring with someone and they're in a dominant position is a complete game changer, and I personally have noticed that that can be applied to broader life situations. I mean, honestly, why would you not at least try training jiu-jitsu? Say it's November 2024 and you still haven't done jiu-jitsu. Just go and do your first class. What have you got to lose from going to your first class? Absolutely nothing.